Welcome, dear listeners. I'm Jonathan Carlin.
And I'm Benjamin Carlin.
And we invite you to join us through the Griffin door, your one-way ticket to the enchanting world of Harry Potter. So grab your wands and dust off your broomsticks and join us as we unlock the dark corridors inside Order of the Phoenix, Chapter 12, Professor Umbridge. Ugh, gross.
I know.
She's here.
She is here, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
We should really just change it to unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
And people will be like, why are you saying it like that? And we're like, I think you know.
I think you know.
You
get it, right? Like you've read Harry Potter or The Phoenix Chapter 12. You get it.
You get it. Yeah. She's the worst. So before we dive in proper to the chapter art, we can now officially announce that the Southwest tour is officially on the books. It is officially out there in the world. Tickets are available. We are going to be kicking off in Denver, traveling to Las Vegas,
Salt Lake City, Phoenix, Houston, and Dallas.
Look at you. Remembering all the cities. I got halfway through. I was like, I'm missing one in my head.
If you are interested in coming to see through the Griffin tour, the live version of this podcast, the greatest community event on the internet, as far as I can tell.
I think it goes without saying.
It goes without saying. Tickets are already on sale. We put up the announcement earlier this week. But the dates, in case you're curious, if you haven't heard yet, it is going to be March 7th in Denver, March 9th in Salt Lake City, March 11th in Las Vegas, March 12th in Phoenix, March 14th in Houston, and March 15th in Dallas.
Yeah, and what I'm really excited about for this one, and we did have to do a little bit of shifty bits, but I think it works out all the same. But we will be tackling the final 6 chapters of Order of the Phoenix.
That's right.
Throughout the course of this tour. So if you want to be there for some big finale energy, this is going to be the one to do it. I'm so excited about this one too, because they're all fun destination-y type places too. So it's like, even if you don't happen to live in Las Vegas, maybe it's a fun place to go visit for the first time.
Yeah. And I mean, they are truly meaty chapters. Like, we are going to get Fight and Flight. We got the Department of Mysteries, Beyond the Veil, the only one he ever feared, Phoenix, the Lost Prophecy, and the Second War Begins.
Yeah. So lots of really, really, really good stuff going to be packed into this tour. We also do a live Jay versus Ben before every show. There's a meet and greet opportunity if you want to check that out and come up and take pictures with Jay and I, ask us a question, do all that type of stuff. We do sign things. That's it's like one of the funny ones is that a lot of people are like, I know you guys are doing photos. Do you also do signatures? We absolutely do.
We do.
Yes, indeed. So no problem at all. We hope to see you there. Tickets are available at supercarlinbrothers.com. They're also available in the description and the show notes and all of the obvious spots where you might find
spots,
it. But then without any further ado, let's talk about the chapter art here for Professor Umbridge, because goodness gracious, it's like, as far as chapter art goes, like it's well executed, but I hate it.
Because it's like, exactly. It's like, the problem is that it's well executed.
That's it. Yeah. Right. It's like, it's an accurate portrayal, an accurate depiction of the stubby fingers with the ugly looking rings, the short wand, the little bow that looks like a fly up in her hair. I also took the liberty to add a mustache to mine, a little Cornelius Fudge heart tattoo on the sleeve.
Solid.
A couple extra flies, because even though I know that the bow on top is meant to look like a fly, it doesn't hurt me to think that she also has a bit of like a stench.
Oh, she definitely does. She definitely has a bit of a stench. I feel like that goes without saying. Yeah.
Like
it's and it's like swamp,
It's like swamp.
It's like kind of like swamp.
Right. Like think of a swamp.
That's it.
You got it.
You got it.
That's it. That
well
is literally,
done.
Yes. Well, man, I thought that was going to be harder to convey, but then as soon as I said it, I was like, they get it.
That's probably, do you think that's why Fred and George make a swamp? They're like, hey, this is what you smell like.
Pure inspiration.
Yeah.
She showed up and they were like George leaned over to Fred. And was
you brought a swamp? Guess what? We fought swamp with swamp.
We fought swamp with swamp.
Exactly. Oh dear. Yeah, Professor Umbridge, it smells like a swamp. It's like, God, look at her. I specifically hate the way her rings look stuck on her fingers.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely got that like thing where it's almost like the fingers are so like swollen that it's like there's no way those rings are ever coming off as well. And she sort of has this like really terrifying manic expression, some very severe eyebrows. Just, I mean, it's like the fluffy pink cardigan, like part of me who is just, excited for Wicked just around the corner.
Yeah.
It's like, I know that Galinda can make this look good,
right.
and you've ruined it. And it's like, how did you do that?
Yeah. Galinda, who's the exact opposite of Dolores Jane Umbridge.
In literally every single way.
In every single way.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I did write an apology for whoever ends up with this particular page per the annual subscription agreement that we have with you guys, where if you sign up, you get one of the pages from our books. And I just said, I'm sorry if you get this page. That's rough, buddy.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're going to want to frame it, but like,
Yeah. I mean, mine says, oh, gross. What a toad. That's it. And then I have an arrow with a question mark pointing to her wand because it looks like she's like waving it. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure she doesn't do magic in her glass. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's a good point. Anyway, so would you like to kick us off with the first sentence?
Of course, Ben. Of course. Seamus dressed at top speed next morning and left the dormitory before Harry had even put on his socks. And then the dragons arrived.
Ugh. Man, and this is quite the situation though now, because now Harry is going to have to battle the dragon without the aid of his good buddy Seamus.
Well, it's like Seamus definitely saw them coming. He's like, "Whoa, see ya!
I'm out of here."
I'm out.
And then also Harry now has to fight a dragon with no socks on,
barefoot.
Yeah. Not the most ideal way to tackle a dragon.
Not the most ideal way to do it. No,
right,
but you got to do what you got to do. Harry's, he's been in tough corners before, and he's he manages to find a way.
He does. Yeah. So good for Harry, I guess. But anyway, just a little bit of a recap. What we got going on here is that Harry has returned. We've had the start of term feast in the last chapter, and Harry is starting to kind of get the full reality of the damage caused by the Ministry of Magic and the Daily Prophet throughout the course of the summer, where all of the slander that they have been publishing about both Harry and Dumbledore has really done what you would expect it to do, which is just infiltrated the minds and opinions not only of his fellow students, but also of their parents, who are then further kind of causing this layer of concern. And I would specifically say the parents aspect of it, because Seamus, I genuinely believe, and it's taken me doing through the Gryffindor to interpret it this way, but I don't think that Seamus had a pre-decided opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And, I think his mom was putting a lot of pressure on him, and I think that she was certainly sold hook, line, and sinker. But I think Seamus, having lived with Harry for 4 full years, kind of knows that there is an X factor to this kid, and I think he was just sort of like, he waited, and it's like I said, I think in the last chapter, where it's like Seamus doesn't ask at the table and the Great Hall during the feast or anything. Like, he waits until he's in like the privacy of him, Dean, Neville, Ron, and Harry to ask the question, what happened in the graveyard? But Harry is, as you've so eloquently pointed out in this book so far, the Mimbulus Mimbletonia.
The Mimbulus.
That he truly is.
Yeah.
And when prodded, is exploding stink sap all over the place.
All over everybody. Yep.
Yep. So we've got a little bit of a situation here where people in opposition are continuing to be more opposed due to and because of the opposition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of going in opposite directions a little bit there. So obviously Seamus is causing a little bit of stress, and you can only imagine what this is like. Your first day back at school, everything else has already gone wrong. Hagrid's missing. Umbridge is there. One of your roommates is mad at you. It's just like,
right.
This is a rough start.
It's a rough start, and this is going to be a very, very rough first day for Harry, because this chapter is just going to take us basically through Harry's first full day back at Hogwarts.
That's right. Yeah,
and it's a hard one.
it's honestly, it seems like a rough Monday back to courses for anyone. Like, if this was like my first day of the semester in college, I'd be like, well, this sucks.
Yeah. Like, excuse me?
Do I even have class the rest of the week? I feel like all my classes are packed into one day.
To one day, I know. He's got a very busy. It's exactly the kind of Monday, like when you're a sophomore in college, you would never have, because now you've gotten to choose your classes, and you're like, definitely not. No way.
I shan't be waking up at 8 a.m. And I also am not going to have a lab on the same day that I have my 3 other worth subjects.
No.
So Anyway, but yeah, this is, kind of, it's an interesting dynamic as well, because the other person that we have involved in the room, we've got Neville, who is decidedly on Harry's side, Ron, obviously, who's decidedly on Harry's side, Harry himself, and then you've got Dean.
Yeah.
Who I think is trying really, really hard to play Switzerland.
He really is, but like Dean is Seamus's best friend in the same way that Ron is Harry's best friend. But Dean is also just sort of like, it's like, I feel like Seamus is like, he saw Harry. It's like they're arguing about whether or not it's raining outside or something. And it's like Seamus saw Harry come back and he was soaking wet. And he's like, guys, it is raining. It is raining pretty bad out there.
Right.
And he went home and all the prophets like, it's not raining. It's not raining.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Seamus is looking out the window and he's like, I'm pretty sure it's raining. And his mom is like, it says right here in the paper that it's not raining.
Exactly.
And Dean's like, I mean, it's raining, dude.
Right.
Yeah. But he's like, but he's his best friend. So like he can't betray Seamus, but he also can't really defend him.
This is literally exactly what I have written down, is that he can't defend or betray Seamus. And it's sort of like, oh, that's tricksy. That's an unfortunate spot to be in.
Right.
Yeah. And so then we got the Neville and Ron both gave Harry, it's his problem, not yours, looks. But Harry was not much consoled. How much more of this was he going to have to take? And it's a very fair question. If he's getting it from the people who probably have had the most exposure to him as a person, you can only imagine what the rest of the school's thinking.
Oh, I know. And the answer to how much more is he going to have to take is quite a lot. Quite a lot. So they get back down to the dormitory, or back down to the common room, and Hermione's checking in and says, "What's the matter? You look absolute. Oh, for heaven's sake!" But before she can get too far into it, she notices that last night Fred and George have hung up a poster on the bulletin board, the most looked at bulletin board in the history of bulletin boards, which says, "Gallons of galleons, pocket money failing to keep pace with your outgoings. Like to earn a little extra gold? Contact Fred and George Weasley, Gryffindor Common Room, for simple part-time, virtually painful jobs. We regret that all work is undertaken and applicants on risk."
Yeah, this one I do think is kind of funny, because we've given Fred and George a little bit of accolade in the past for the fact that they are, doing most of their testings on themselves versus putting it to the test on other people. So at bare minimum, I feel like before they really start subjecting other people to this situation, they've kind of like, it was like, if we're going to ask other people to do it, we'll do it first.
Right.
And it's like, okay, that seems fair enough. But then once obviously you get like a little bit of a taste for what their, little magic does, this is like a tricky one, because I think high school me would have been like, oh, Hermione, get over it. But adult me is sort of like, it does feel a little dangerous. Yeah. But I hate to disagree with Fred and George.
I know. And it's like, ultimately, I think Hermione's going to come around on them quite a bit here. But it's like, it's also like, I mean, how illegal is this? They're offering people money. They're telling them, there's some risk involved,
Right.
Like, are they breaking the rules?
Well, I guess we don't have the handbook, but almost certainly they're breaking what will be Umbridge's rules.
Almost certainly.
Or at the very least.
Who cares about those rules?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, not me.
Not me.
Yeah. I'm completely perturbed.
I'm unperturbed as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hermione's like, oh my gosh, we'll have to talk to them, Ron. And Ron is like, what? I don't. Like when you say us, you mean like me too?
I think. Wait, I mean, I'm hearing what you're saying, and you mean you.
And you mean you. Why don't you go talk to them?
That's cool? Right. Yeah. Ron looked positively alarmed. Why? Because we're prefects, said Hermione as they climbed through the portrait hole. It's up to us to stop this kind of thing.
If I was Ron, I'd be like, I'm just going to level with you, Hermione. There are 4 other prefects. Okay.
Right.
And maybe since we're like their brother and their brother's like friend, like we the prefects talk to the other prefects about talking to them. How about that?
How about that? Honestly, I don't even hate that. Like I do think this is the kind of situation where there's a couple layers disconnect, where it's like Hermione, I think as smart as she is and as like observant of people as she is, as we're about to see with her observations of Harry, because she's paying so much attention to him,
Yeah.
Like, she's like, you look really angry about something.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that in just a second. Yeah. But I could see a world where Hermione would be like, this is going to be a bit of a conflict of interest, isn't it? Like she could like almost like see through the obvious problem where it's like, it's going to be hard for you to enforce behaviors against your older siblings.
Right, especially these older siblings.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, to phrase it as Ron, it said, Harry could tell from his glum expression that the prospect of stopping Fred and George doing exactly what they liked was not one that he found inviting, which is going to be put up against Umbridge, who the prospect of stopping Fred and George doing exactly what they liked is extremely inviting to her.
Right.
And both parties will try and both parties will fail.
There you go. That's right. But anyway, yeah, so Hermione she says, you look really angry about something. And Ron sort of succinctly explains that Seamus reckons Harry's lying about you-know-who. And Hermione, Harry expects Hermione to sort of react angrily to this, like, what? How could he believe that? But instead, she just responds, yes, Lavender thinks so too, she said gloomily.
And Harry goes all Mimbulus on him here.
It's truly, I've been having a nice little chat with her about whether or not I'm lying, attention-seeking prat. Have you, Harry said loudly? Which I need to chime in really quick here because the term prat is like an insult in Britain, but it's also my middle name.
Right, yeah.
So as a young kid, I was always like, well, we could choose something else,
we can
right?
choose a different word for that, right? I mean, prat, it's like, it's, that's a bit of a compliment, if anything.
Hey, if anything, I know.
Right?
We could say whether or not I'm a lying, attention-seeking Lewis.
Oh, I see what you did there.
That's your middle name.
Because that's my middle name. Yeah.
Anyway, so not the point.
Anyway, Hermione's, of course, is not having it. It says, no!
Said Hermione calmly. That's right. Yeah. But actually, to be fair, the book actually covers this one pretty nicely. I told her to keep her big fat mouth shut about you, actually. And it would be quite nice if you stopped jumping down Ron and my throats, Harry, because if you haven't noticed, we're on your side.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is a good moment, though, where I feel like Hermione is doing a really good job of keeping her bearings when continuously having to deal with this rather spicy Harry.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he is. She's doing a very good job. For sure. And Harry, recognizes it. He has a little ashamed. Sorry. And then, that's quite all right, said Hermione with dignity.
Yes. Yeah. All right. And then she hails back to Dumbledore's end of year speech from last year, where she's like, don't you remember what Dumbledore said? And Harry and Ron both look at her like, do you think we remember that?
Do we?
Yeah.
Cedric died. Something.
We were all on the floor in stitches.
I know,
were we supposed to?
Yeah.
About you-know-who. He said, his gift for spreading discord and enmity is very great. We can fight it only by showing an equally strong bond of friendship and trust.
This is such like a true sentiment, like even here in the real world. Like this is pretty much usually the answer. But I think what's crazy is that like it's already so true within the wizarding world, and Voldemort isn't even doing anything yet. It's just the idea of him in the air that is causing this much like chaos.
Yeah, I know. It's just it really is kind of interesting the way that just like even his like presence like potentially ambiguously being brought up, where not even everybody agrees whether or not he's back. It's like even that is just enough to really like drive a wedge. Then you do have a pretty decent, Ron and Hermione moment where he's sort of like, how do you remember stuff like that? Asked Ron, looking at her in admiration.
Listen, Ron.
Yeah, exactly. And I had to look up what the term asperity meant because that was not one I just, had off the top of the dome.
Yeah,
but
same.
It says, I listen, Ron, said Hermione with a touch of asperity. But when I first read that in not knowing the definition of asperity, which means harshness of tone, I would have read that as like, I listen, Ron, like almost more like explaining, like flattered, but also like explaining like, well, this is how I do it.
Right.
Like that's how I have like previously interpreted this particular line, but instead it's much more like I listen.
Yeah. Why don't you try it?
Right. And then Ron's like, so do I, but I couldn't tell you exactly what. And then Hermione's
just like cuts him off.
Yeah, the point is that this sort of thing is exactly what Dumbledore was talking about. You-know-who's only been back 2 months and we started fighting amongst ourselves and the Sorting Hat's wording was the same. Stand together, be united.
Yeah. And Ron's like, yeah, but Harry said it. If that means we're supposed to get matey with the Slytherins, fat chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Hermione's kind of already got some ideas like floating around in her head. She's like, I think it's a pity we're not trying for a bit of inner house unity. Although even on the train just yesterday, she did call Pansy Parkinson a cow. So,
well, there is that.
She's right there too.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see here. And then it said they had reached the foot of the marble staircase. A line of fourth-year Ravenclaws, which notably are Luna's classmates,
That's
because
true.
she's a fourth year from Ravenclaw, obviously, was crossing the entrance hall, and they caught sight of Harry and hurried to form tighter groups as though frightened he might attack stragglers. So you can almost imagine the conversation happening in that dormitory last night, which is this group of 4 fourth-year girls speaking amongst each other, thinking like, oh, Harry's a total danger or whatever. And Luna being like, I don't think he's dangerous.
Right.
And they're like, okay, well, that just reinforces it. He's definitely dangerous. Yeah.
He's just as sane as I am. And they're like, thanks, Luna. What are you doing over here?
Right.
How are you floating?
How are you floating? Yeah, we really ought to be making friends with people like that, said Harry sarcastically. But
yes, but you should.
Well, yes, he should. And also, in a way, he will.
He will.
Make friends with people exactly like that.
Yeah.
Notably Luna.
All this is laying down the groundwork for them forming the DA later in the book.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
In any case, they follow the Ravenclaws into the Great Hall, where Hagrid is still not there. Grubbly Plank is chatting with Professor Sinestra, the rarely seen astronomy teacher.
There we go.
Yep, good bit of trivia there as well. This is like a class they take every single year, and like you just never hear about it.
Never at all.
I know.
Yeah, like a telescope, I think is on like Harry's first year list of things like he's supposed to get. And
I want to say in their first year they have to meet at like midnight every Wednesday to go like to this class.
Yes, yeah. This to me reminds me a little bit, like I've got this belief that like Neville was intended to be like a much more prominent like part of the trio, like it was supposed to be like a quad, and it was almost like too hard to juggle the dynamics of including yet another personality into like the fold. Like 3 was almost like the sweet spot for how this can work out well. I tend to believe that like astronomy is like one of those classes where it's like obviously if you go to like wizard school, you're gonna study this stuff, but it's also like it's a real pain to like figure out like how to incorporate like another teacher dynamic with Harry and what that means and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of like, yeah, he does it.
Yeah,
that's it.
He does it. It'll come up that he has to take an OWL, and they'll see McGonagall get attacked. So
that's right. Yeah, so it will end up kind of being a little bit important. Here's an interesting question though. So the enchanted ceiling above them echoed Harry's mood. It was miserable, rain cloud gray. Do you think that there is any chance at all that like Harry is performing like extraordinary unintentional magic?
Like that he is like controlling the weather somehow.
Like a little bit.
It does match his mood a lot.
It does. And I know that like more of what's happening is that this is like the literary foreboding. Like, you know, it's meant to kind of establish and contribute to the overall setting.
Yeah.
You know, it's dark, it's gray, it's windy, it's cold, it's wet. Like these are all things we can associate with like being sullen and downtrodden and whatever. But, you know, the unintentional magic is a pretty big thing, you know, going back to like Harry at the zoo with the vanishing glass.
Is there a time when he like someone is accidentally making it snow? I think there is.
Oh, maybe so. Yeah, and it's like, it looks like we got dandruff or something.
Right, yeah, something like that. Like, I'm like, was that Harry, like, accidentally making it snow? Like, and now it's like his emotions just, like, out of control or something?
Right, you know? Yeah.
Because, like, it wouldn't super duper surprise me, like, if there was, like, a very passive amount of this happening. Because, like, Harry, you know, it's like, when you don't often think of him as being like a powerful wizard or anything.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but his Patronus is like the fights 100 Dementors kind of Patronus.
Right.
Like they tell him it's like a point is made that like only a really powerful wizard could have cast that spell.
Right.
Kind of thing. So it's sort of like Harry never like taps into that power. No one ever like compares him to Dumbledore in that way. But it's like, does he have enormous power? Could he be affecting the weather?
This is something I would actually like about this in particular is that like I think the strategy to not make Harry like the star pupil is a good call because it like kind of maintains like a little bit of like a humility to him, like an everyman nature. Like he's very good at Quidditch in a very like X Factor sort of way.
Right.
But that bearing is never, it's more just like social hierarchy than that ever is like power or skill in classes. But like if Harry was like the best student in every class on top of being important, on top of everything else, it would almost feel like unbelievable.
Right.
But this is like a very subtle way that like Harry can be like manipulating circumstances without it being like fully on the nose or even ever explained.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you on that front. So who knows? Like that's not like canonical or anything, but What do you guys think? Is it possible Harry is like affecting the weather in some way?
That's right. Yeah.
Or I guess it could be like even just like the collective mood of the wizards affects the weather.
I mean, in some ways, I feel like we do have that almost confirmed because, like, in Half-Blood Prince, we're going to sort of have like the misty gray, like uncharacteristically cool temperatures for the season. Like the Dementors breeding basically is causing it to be like a like sullen environment.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I mean, to that end, it's like, that's like a weird, like self-completing prophecy a little bit. It's like the Dementors make everyone feel bad, and then everyone making them feel bad makes them breed, and then more of them makes people feel bad.
Right. Yeah. Like somehow, I don't know if you can compare these to mosquitoes, but it feels like mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes.
Yeah.
The worst.
Anyway, we're off the rails now. So back on track. Angelina is going to march over to Harry because she has been deemed Gryffindor Quidditch captain.
Yeah.
To which I like Harry's response of "nice one." Harry said, grinning at her. So it's like he's actually been able to like crack a smile, which is almost a little bit surprising.
Yeah.
But not fortunately, fittingly, it is Quidditch that would be able to like kind of break through all the other everything.
And break through everything a little bit. And despite this being like a good thing, and it's like a friend, and it's like Quidditch and stuff, there is a certain element of like even though it is a good thing. Every year until now, it's been Oliver Wood. And so it's like, this isn't a bad thing, but it is different. Like, yet again, something is different for Harry.
It is.
And Angelina is going to prove to be like kind of mad at him for a while.
Also true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just like everything else, like the thing that's supposed to make him happy, his Quidditch captain's going to be like super frustrated because of his upcoming detentions.
Yes.
But then we also sort of have this other situation going on. So it's like, while Quidditch can make Harry crack a smile here, what we're going to hear about is that basically because Oliver has left, we need to hold tryouts for a new keeper. Mm-hmm. And this is like one of the areas where I feel like Harry is actually turning like a little bit of like a blind eye to something in his immediate proximity, which is Ron's interest in playing Quidditch.
I know, like he has not picked up on this at all.
Right.
Let's see. And that, but I also think this is funny is that, she tells him that and then runs off, and Hermione's like, I'd forgotten Wood had left, said Hermione vaguely, sitting down beside Ron and pulling a plate of toast toward her. It's like what's funny is that she just recalled verbatim a speech like Dumbledore gave 2 months ago, and Ron's like, how do you remember stuff like that? But like then when it comes to Quidditch, it's like she has not remembered Oliver's there, but whereas Ron is like locked in. He has been waiting for the announcement of this situation for like weeks.
Yes. Yeah, this is a big deal. He got his prefix badge. He asked for the broomstick. Like, a broomstick in a world where it's like how Harry doesn't pick up on sort of like, what do you want a broomstick for?
Right.
You just gonna fly around like on the weekends? Like,
yeah.
Is that a thing? Like, do people just go and it's like, hey, it's broomstick hour. Madam Hooch will be out there to make sure people are safe.
Yeah, I mean, like if you played Hogwarts Legacy, like I mean, you might think, like there's just like broom racing, or it's just like, yeah, we got a free afternoon, let's go fly around the castle or something. But
right.
Yeah.
I mean, that actually does sound so fun.
It does sound so fun. We never hear about that in the books though, so I agree with you. Harry should be like, what are you gonna do with a broom?
Right, exactly. Sweep. But yeah, so Harry's response to Hermione's observation about Wood leaving is, I suppose he was a good keeper. And it's like, well, he was okay. I mean, Puddlemere United backup squad.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But Ron is trying so hard to get someone to notice. It's like, I feel like he's like, still won't hurt to have some new blood, will it? It's like what he really, really desperately wants is for Harry or Hermione to be like, Ron, why don't you try out?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, now there's an idea. I did just get that.
Right.
Broom.
He's what he wants is them to suggest it so he doesn't have to be embarrassed about wanting it.
Right.
Yeah. Which he doesn't need to be embarrassed about, but like I do remember that kind of feeling.
Well, and there's a lot of putting yourself out there, especially like when your best friend's Harry Potter and he's like the star of the team, and your brothers have been on the team. Your oldest brother was Charlie, and he was like the Quidditch guy and everything.
Yeah.
Like there's the like if I don't try, then I can't publicly fail, and let's go with that. But this is also like, I'm going to try, and it will really suck if I fail. But
if you suggest I try and then I fail, it's like, there wasn't, I was just a bit of a lark, really.
Precisely, yeah. I took your advice. I gave it a shot.
I thought it'd be fun, but I didn't really have my hopes up or anything.
Yeah, it was just good to be in the air for a couple of days. No big. But anyway, it seems like every time the book is also, I think, doing a good job of absolutely refusing to allow one of these circumstances to have like any obvious logical follow-up.
Yeah.
And that is the point where it's like, we know Ron is attempting to soft launch this idea because he then, per the book and the narration, is immediately interrupted with a whoosh of clatter as hundreds of owls come flying in. And basically this is to let us know that Hermione still is taking the Daily Prophet.
Yep.
Something that Harry is sort of like, what are you still getting that for?
But Hermione is one step ahead of them as usual. And says, it's best to know what the enemy is saying, said Hermione darkly. And it's like, yes, very true. Good job, Hermione.
Yes. Yeah. I wrote next to that. I was like, Hermione's having a great chapter so far. Yeah.
Yes.
She is really like, this is like that hyper clarity that she has, like her super logical nature. It's like she is able to see through all the extraneous detail.
Yeah. She's doing good. But then Professor McGonagall comes down and handing out schedules, and we find out that they have got a truly terrible first day, including History of Magic, double potions, divination, and double defense against the dark arts. So Professor Binns, Snape, Trelawney, and Umbridge.
And this, I mean, I guess it is kind of interesting because under ordinary situations, like History of Magic is just notably super, super, super boring.
Yep.
Potions is challenging because it's Snape and he's just antagonistic. Divination is just a crock. And then normally double defense against the dark arts probably would have been a boon.
Yeah.
Like I want to say that last year with Moody, Fred and George come down after their first day and they're like, whoa, never had a lesson like it. You know, like they're like, positively gushing over being in Moody's class, and Ron's like, oh, we haven't got him till Thursday.
Yeah.
And it's like a bit of a disappointment. So under ordinary circumstances, this would, that would be a great way to cap off your first day. But unfortunately, this time it's with Umbridge.
I mean, frankly, this, like, you're right. There's no reason this day minus Trelawney shouldn't be a good day. Like, I mean, we're going to get through it in this chapter as Harry goes to each class, but it's like none of the teachers teach. Like, none of them teach. And it's like over and over. And it's like, Harry's even going to say, like, he could appreciate that this subject might have been interesting in the hands of a different professor. And it's like, yeah, History of Magic is nothing but like goblin wars and witch burnings and giants and stuff like that. It's like, it should be super interesting.
And also, like, Harry is about to live, through history himself.
Yeah.
Like, being informed on what has happened in the past, like, especially with who he is, it's like history is important to you now, like, more than ever.
Yeah.
Like, it's good to know, like, what happens when, darkness rises.
Right.
And
it's like you learn history so you don't repeat it.
Precisely.
Right.
Yeah. Like, that's the whole point.
I know. Like, this should be such an important class for Dumbledore, who will just basically teach Harry selective History of Magic next year.
Right.
Like that Dumbledore's whole thing is learning people's history to learn how to better understand them as an opponent or as a friend. And the fact that he lets Professor Binns fail to educate generations of students is it is so stupid.
It is rather frustrating. I mean, it's like Umbridge kind of comes in and she's going to start like knocking people and everything. And you're sort of like, hey now, like, even when it's Trelawney, it's like enemy of my enemy is my friend. Like, I hate Umbridge. Therefore I'm here to protect Trelawney, in that particular regard. But this is like, we've talked about it with Hagrid before as well, where it's just sort of like they spent all of last year basically doing blast-ended Scroots. And one lesson on Nifflers.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, you kind of wonder, like, because Harry always talks so highly of his experience at Hogwarts. And I'm like, Harry, really, like, is it really that good?
I know. I don't doubt that Flitwick and McGonagall are both really good teachers.
Certainly.
But this should be, with a good teacher, History of Magic should almost be fun. If Slughorn was there instead of Snape, honestly not that bad. Divination, always going to be kind of a problem. Trelawney's not even there because she's a good teacher. She's there so that Voldemort won't learn the prophecy. She's like under Dumbledore's protection.
Right.
And then Defense Against the Dark Arts should be fun if it was like Lupin or even maybe Barty Crouch Jr.
It's such a dicey one too, isn't it? Because it's like they like all of last year they learn a lot. And it's like it sort of was a good class, but like also it's like it was Barty Crouch Jr., so it's hard to say. Anyway, but then Ron chimes in with, "I wish Fred and George would hurry up with those skiving snack boxes." And Fred and George are like, "Do my ears deceive me? Hogwarts prefects surely do not wish to skive off lessons."
Yeah, and Ron is like, "I already want to skip class. This is the worst Monday I've ever seen."
Yeah. But I love the little exchange. It's like, "You can have a nosebleed nougat for cheap if you like." "Why is it cheap?" said Ron suspiciously. "Because you'll keep bleeding till you shrivel up. We haven't got an antidote yet."
Well, then how do you know?
Right.
Well, shouldn't one of you be bleeding from the nose at this moment?
Right.
Yeah.
These nosebleed nougats will come up again later with Katie Bell, I believe, during
Quidditch. Yeah.
Yep,
Katie Bell's going to have a couple of bad years here. She's just sort of like collateral damage to the plot.
Right.
A lot of times.
It's like, who can we harm whose name we know well enough that we'll care about it, but isn't really like a character?
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like, oh no, not Katie Bell.
What do we know about Katie Bell? Tragedy befalls her.
Tragedy befalls her. Yeah. She, who knows? Yeah. She got the nosebleed nougat. She's going to get cursed by that necklace.
She's not even chosen for Quidditch captain.
I know. Yeah. She gets passed right over for Harry.
Yeah. Good times. Dear. Let's see here.
But Hermione's like now takes the opportunity to tell them they can't advertise for testers on the Gryffindor notice board, and they're just sort of like, "Wait, what? What?" Like it says, says who? Said George, looking astonished, and I feel like that is genuine. He is just like, "Wait, what?
Right?
Are you kidding?"
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it almost feels like the way that everybody's going to react to the notices that are going to go out throughout the rest of the year. Where it's sort of like, wait, what new rule?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like Hermione's trying to enforce these like otherwise kind of like silly light rules at the beginning, which already Fred and George are bucking at. But then like later when Umbridge is putting up very severe rules, it's sort of Hermione, I feel like, catches herself and is like, "Hey, more important fish to fry."
That's right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Or in this case, frogs.
Yeah. More important toads to fry.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, nailed it. All right, let's see here. Then we also get a little bit of an explanation as to just how challenging fifth year is from Fred and George, which is kind of remarkable because it means at least they were taking in what it was like for former students. And they explain half of our year had minor breakdowns coming up on OWLs, said George happily. Tears and tantrums. Patricia Stimpson kept coming over faint. That's a piece of trivia for you.
Patty Stimpson?
Patty Stimpson.
Yeah, I'm never going to remember her.
No. What about Kenneth Towler?
Nope.
Came out in boils, said Fred reminiscently. And then George chimes in, "That's because you put Bulbadox powder in his pajamas," said George. "Oh, yeah," said Fred, grinning. "Oh, I'd forgotten. Hard to keep track sometimes, isn't it?"
That, I guess, then means that Kenneth Towler is one of the other Gryffindors in their year?
I think that must be the case, which makes him a seventh year.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
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 That's right. Yes. Correct. Booyah. Well, there you go. Do you think he's a prefect? Okay, because otherwise, there's a good chance that Kenneth Towler is a prefect, right? Because otherwise it's Fred, George, Lee Jordan, Kenneth, or someone else. I'm assuming that it's 5 boys, which we don't know for sure.
I use that as like my safe math because it's sort of like we're in uncharted territory anyway. So it's like, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Know? Like you use it, like it works almost every other time. So
yeah. Okay, well, I feel like maybe he is then because we only know 3 other boys in that year and there's no way it's one of those.
Not to mention, who are Fred and George more likely to pick on than their resident prefect?
Than the prefect, yeah. Do you think Patricia Stimpson... Oh, no, they didn't do anything to old Patty Stimpson.
Yeah, no, Patty Stimpson seems like she just came over faint due to the actual stress.
Due to the stress, yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Whoopsie.
Yep. And then I love Fred and I managed to keep our spirits up somehow. Yeah, you got, what was it, 3 OWLs each, said Ron. Yep, said Fred unconcernedly. But we feel our futures lie outside the world of academic achievement.
They have such a solid attitude. Like they're so genuinely unconcerned with any of this because they just have such a good idea of what they are going to do It's like, I wish I at any point in high school felt as like self-assured as they do.
I mean, really, that's like what it comes down to, is that it's like even like the friends that you had that like knew what they wanted to do when they grow up, it felt like such a distinct advantage over just sort of like, I'm going on to the next thing. I guess I'll keep studying something.
Yeah.
And hopefully there's a career on the other end of that.
Right.
4 years from now.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, let's see here. Then we get like a little bit of an explanation though about why they decided to stay back in the first place, because it sounds like pretty much otherwise it's just like we wouldn't have come back, but we didn't want to like break mom's heart. And also we're just going to use this last year to do a bit of market research and find out exactly what the average Hogwarts student requires from their joke shops.
Do you feel like they like back at the Burrow have like a Muggle marketing textbook?
That's a good question. And it feels like the kind of thing that Arthur certainly would have like picked up somewhere along the way for his like collection.
Right.
And he just thinks it's fun. And Fred and George actually read it.
I know. Right. Like, because they don't teach any of those kind of skills at like Hogwarts.
Right.
You know, like, but they have like a very solid calculated approach. It's like, we're going to do market research, find out what the average student requires from his joke shop, carefully evaluate the results of our research, and then produce the products that fit demand. And it's like, well, that was a very grown-up sentence you just said. You know?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where you can tell that they're actually fairly sharp when they apply themselves to whatever it is that they're attempting to do.
Absolutely.
But also, I love the world where this wizarding joke shop is so successful because of basic Muggle marketing.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all, because it's like everything else just sort of relies on like, we're the only people here who do it.
Right.
But like they're the only shop like thriving once like Voldemort kind of like starts taking over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. But then we get a little bit of a question from Hermione basically being like, but where are you going to get gold to start a joke shop? And this is where Hermione actually, I think, demonstrates a bit of her own knowledge as well. You're going to need all the ingredients, materials, and premises too, I suppose. Like, you know, it's like Hermione actually seems to have like a little bit of a basis for what it takes to start a business, which most of the 15-year-olds that I knew in high school did not know.
Did not have such business acumen.
Right. Ask us no questions and we'll tell you no lies, Hermione. Come on, George. If we're to get there early, if we're going to sell a few extendable ears before herbology.
Boom. Already on the hustle, as it were.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're also just trying to keep their promise to Harry, which is why they're not telling them that they've already got gold. But Ron and Hermione are starting to wise up. They're like, does that mean they've already got gold? And yes, it does, because Harry gave them the Triwizard winnings. And then Ron's like, they bought me a new set of dress robes this summer, and I couldn't understand where they got the galleons or why they did it, probably.
Right. Yes, exactly. Especially because it's like, near as we can tell, there are very few instances where dress robes ever actually come up after, you know, the Yule Ball. And then I guess like for Bill and Fleur's wedding, maybe they wear them then.
Right.
But, you know, at that point in time, it's like, once again, Ron just keeps growing. So it's like, chances are his dress robes aren't even going to fit by the time.
Aren't probably going to fit again, although it doesn't seem like it's a problem when the wedding comes around.
Yeah.
But either way, of all the random things, I do like that that gets called back to, because Harry, when he's handing them the gold, is like, and promise me one thing, get Ron some new dress robes. And it's like, they did.
They listened. Yeah. There was like, deal. Okay. Yeah. For 1,000 galleons. Absolutely.
Of course.
Let's see here. So then we get a little bit of explanation about like OWLs are really important. They affect the kind of jobs you can apply for and everything. This is all going to be big setup, because obviously throughout the course of the year, we're going to kind of get a bit of a feud between Umbridge's position that Harry will never become an Auror and McGonagall's position that, yes, he absolutely will.
Right.
So that's sort of like a big one as well.
Yeah, and I like that. This is like a really fun conversation to me, because it's them like sort of talking about their future. Even though at the moment, the future itself is extremely uncertain and likely to change because of Voldemort. And yet they're like still carrying on forward, like that this is how things will go.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point as well, where it's like typically in times like this, it can be hard to look too far into the future because you just don't know what the ever-shifting landscape is going to cause.
Right.
And of course, at this point in time, they have no idea that the literal physical landscape around them will be rubble in 2 years' time.
Right.
To almost 3 years time.
Right.
But still. Then Ron brings up the fact that he also would like to be an Auror, to which Harry's like, yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, he soft launches this a lot better. He's like, well, it'd be cool to be an Auror. And Harry's like, yeah, we should do it.
Yeah, high five. Yeah. And then we get a little bit of feedback from Hermione as well, who is sort of like that would be good, but I like to do something worthwhile. And Harry's like, an Auror is worthwhile. And she's like, yeah, well, it is, but it's not the only worthwhile thing. I mean,
okay, well, the way you said it kind of sounded like that's what you meant.
It's
So
like,
just,
you see what I'm saying.
you see
right?
what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
right? Like it's not just like, tit for tat a little.
Right, yeah. But then she's like, I mean, if I could take SPEW further.
Genuinely important. Yeah.
Right.
And she will.
And she will.
At least
yeah.
according to, like the cursed child, which is pretty Wimbly Wombly canon at best.
Is Wimbly Wombly canon. I don't hate a world nearly as much where Hermione goes on to be Minister for Magic as I do Harry going on to work for the Auror's office, when I just think it makes more sense for him to teach Defense Against the Dark Arts at Hogwarts until he becomes headmaster.
That is absolutely, it just does not make, like, the Auror thing is like a really good misdirect, because it's like what Harry's kind of already doing anyway.
Right.
And it's like, but at the end of the day, like, it was suggested to him by a Death Eater.
Right.
So it's sort of like, like you can see why he'd want to do that based on the experience he's had. But like, there's the whole Voldemort cursed the Defense Against the Dark Arts job, and Harry is going to spend this year basically being the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher.
That's right.
Like it is all being set up. It's like Harry breaks the jinx on that job and then gets to live at Hogwarts teaching the thing. It makes so much sense. It hurts that it's not what happens.
I mean, I think even like the very last line of the whole series is that he's had enough trouble for a lifetime or something like that. The idea is that like an Auror seems very important when you've got the threat of a Dark Lord looming over you. But also what Harry accomplishes by defeating Voldemort is removing that threat from the world. And so it's almost even like, it's like the idea of him going out there and fighting like petty crime feels like beneath him when compared to the idea of like instilling like knowledge and like power, not power, like power, but like
education.
Education.
It feels like his impact on the entire, not to sound too dramatic, but world is far greater if he is teaching generations of students how to fight dark magic.
Right.
As opposed to being the guy out there catching witty Wittershins.
Precisely. And so let me table the rest of that discussion for just this 1 second, because I actually think we can come back to it rather brilliantly once we get to Umbridge's class, but we'll return to that.
Okay.
Because I have more thoughts on it. Anyway, so then let's see here. Now we make it to History of Magic, which is obviously with Professor Binns, their ghost teacher, who had a wheezy, droning voice that was almost guaranteed to cause severe drowsiness within 10 minutes, 5 in warm weather. I've had professors like this before.
I have also had professors like this before.
Yes.
Yeah. Which my note here was just that, like, there's no need for this to be true. Maybe Dumbledore is not great at staffing.
That's it. Yeah, there you go. Let's see here. So today we suffered 3/4 of an hour droning on about the subject of giant wars, which I think is just a little bit of a soft setup there as well for Hagrid's eventual return.
Absolutely.
And sort of like the general and unusual kind of like naturally occurring violent behavior attached to giants, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe. So yeah, I think it's just a good thing to sort of start touching on instead of goblet rebellions for one hot second.
I know, right? Yeah. But yeah, definitely setting up for Hagrid. And there it is. It says, and another teacher says the subject might have been mildly interesting. And it's like, might have been really interesting. Okay. Like giants fighting. I don't know if giant wars mean that's wizards fighting giants or giants fighting giants, but either way, it sounds pretty interesting.
Indeed. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. 100%. So then there's just a little bit of an exchange there because Hermione is sort of like, I'm not going to let you guys take notes off of me this year. How about that? And they're like, well, we'll fail. And that's on your conscience.
I know. like a little bit of gaslighting there, Ron, but okay.
Yeah, just a bit.
It's your fault if we fail because we can't copy your notes. Not our fault that we didn't take our own.
Exactly. Yep. So maybe step up just a little bit there.
Yeah.
Then we get another encounter with Cho Chang, which is going to be our second
in 2 days
of the story so far, where yes, obviously Cho was looking for Harry on the train, ran into him after he was covered in stink sap and sitting with that really cute Ginny Weasley girl. I mean,
what?
Jeez.
Man, she's like, oh my God, I got to get back in there. That was a bad situation.
Right. It's like, if I'm not careful, he's going to end up with her for the rest of his life. She is, after all, his best friend's sister.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I can see the rom-com already.
I can see it.
Yeah. So she comes over and she's like, hello, Harry. It was Cho Chang. And what was more, she was on her own again.
Oh.
This was most unusual.
Making time for Harry.
That's right. Yeah. Harry's like, hi. I thought there was more, and it was like, no, that's it.
Yeah, he tried to get to the rest of it. Let's see. He said, hi, said Harry, feeling his face grow hot. At least you're not covered in stink sap this time, he told himself. Cho seemed to be thinking along the same lines. Oh, no.
Right.
He got that stuff off then.
Yeah. It would be so great if he was like, yeah, Ginny had a spell, just basically whisked it away. No problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
Ginny.
Just go for a little jealousy angle.
But yeah.
Harry has no understanding, has not nearly enough, understanding of girls to pull off something like that.
No. And not that I think you should ever use the jealousy angle. I just think it's funny.
Hermione.
Yeah, exactly. But then he follows up with just a kind of dreadful question, given the circumstances. He said, so did you have a good summer?
Yeah.
And it's just like, her boyfriend happened to be the guy who died with me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. Cedric had been Cho's boyfriend, and the memory of his death must have affected her holiday almost as badly as affected Harry's. I mean, it sounds to me like she has a whole lot of jokes she wants to come tell Harry right now.
I know. And
right?
He's like, oh, is this the moment?
Is this the moment? Yeah.
Sort of brings up our Monday a little bit.
Right.
Oh, it was all right, and then Ron chimes in, and this.
Oh boy, Ron.
Oh boy.
Oh, Ron.
This one's funny, but also there's a teensy bit of Red Moon also disguised.
You think so?
In this. Well,
okay.
If you remember in the Quibbler.
Oh, you're right.
There's a whole thing about the tornadoes who are using theft and torture and all sorts of stuff in order to
to run the league.
Yeah, corruption in the Quidditch League, how the tornadoes are taking control. So that's an article inside of the Quibbler, which is obviously Xenophilius Lovegood's rag,
right,
as they call it.
And here's Ron. You don't support them, do you? Yeah, I do, said Cho. Despite the fact that they're torturing people to get to the top of the league. That's rich.
That's rich. I know. Have you always supported them or just since they started winning the league? And she's like, I've supported them since I was 6, said Cho coolly. Anyway, see you, Harry.
I'm going away from you.
Yeah. Dude, I remember this though, because when we were growing up, our dad grew up in New England, Massachusetts, New York area. So we sort of inherited a degree of New England Patriot fandom.
Indeed.
And I remember they won the Super Bowl when I was in 9th grade, and I wore my Patriots jersey for Dion Branch to school the very next morning. And my science teacher, who was a Steelers fan, was like, well, where'd you find that at midnight last night? And I was like, dude, you know what?
Bro?
I was like, I bought this with my own money, because I play Madden, and I hook the ball to Dion Branch all the time.
All the time, dude.
So it's a name I recognize. It's not my fault he ended up getting MVP this year, Okay,
Whatever, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now.
Anyway, so people do this. This is a real thing. In case you're not
people do this. They don't like it. But and it's gonna carry on. So Hermione's going to start fussing at Ron. He's like, couldn't you tell she wanted to talk to Harry on her own? You're so tactless. And he's like, what's up? Well, I wasn't stopping anything. And I was like, yeah, you kind of were. He's like, and Harry's like, why were you attacking her about her Quidditch team? And he's like, attacking? I wasn't attacking. And he's like, you kind of were.
I literally wrote a little bit attacking, Ron.
A little bit attacking. And Hermione's like, and who even cares? And he's like, oh, well, I mean, people only started wearing those last season. He's like, it does. He's like, it means they're not real fans. They're just jumping on the bandwagon. And it's like, Ron, who cares? Even if that was true about Cho Chang, which it's not, who cares?
Who cares?
It's like, what difference does it make? She wants to talk to Harry. Harry asked her to the ball last year. What are you doing?
What? Oh, but I love this line. Let's see here. Gave Harry plenty of time to reflect that between Neville and Ron, he would be lucky to ever have 2 minutes conversation with Cho that he could look back on without wanting to leave the country.
Well, you say that, but you're going to make a pretty big fool of your own self here in a couple of chapters, Harry. Oh, like when they're at Madame Puttyfoot's. On a date by themselves.
You're right. Is that just a couple chapters away?
Well, not a couple. Probably a ways away. You know.
I understand. I get your
see what I mean.
Yeah. I got you. Let's see here.
Let's see. And then Harry starts to do the math, and he's like, she had chosen to come talk to him, hadn't she? Yeah. She could have been mad at me. She could have hated me for coming out of the Triwizard Maze alive when Cedric had died. But she's not. And then the second time in 2 days. And Harry's like, it's like doing the math. The math is mathing. I'm liking how this is looking on paper all of a sudden.
Right. Like, I mean, and you do like, although this is another one where like, I think high school Ben would have been like, I need like 47 more clues before I will believe anything.
I do exactly understand what you mean. It's just like, oh, you're talking to me every day and being fun and friendly. What a great friend.
It's so nice of you. You probably like someone else.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, then we make it to potions and Snape walks in and says, settle down. But there's no real need to call. Oh, thank you. There's no real need to call for order because the moment that they had heard the door close, quiet had fallen and all fidgeting had stopped. So at least a little bit of respect.
A little bit of respect, but Snape has not going to return any amount of respect at all. He is going to start the year not with a how are your summers or anything. It's just, I think it's appropriate to remind you that next June you will be sitting an important examination during which you will prove how much you have learned about the composition and use of magical potions. Moronic though some of this class undoubtedly are, I expect you to scrape it acceptable in your OWL or suffer my displeasure. Like, is that a threat? Which, I'm sorry, it is a threat. What are you going to do? And also, you just called them morons. So do you expect them to pass or not?
Right, exactly. Because it's like, well, if they're such morons, how on earth are they supposed to pass?
Exactly.
It seems like you're not paying attention to the words that are coming out of your mouth.
It's almost like the only explanation in year 5 that they're moronic at potions is because they've had a bad teacher. Dude. Yeah, see? Yeah.
But there's also a little bit of setup here as well, because after this year, of course, many of you will cease studying with me. Snape went on, I only take the very best into my NEWT potions class, which does mean that he requires an outstanding on OWLs. And I believe Harry only gets acceptable.
I think he gets, I think it's E.
He gets an E, exceeds expectations.
Exceeds expectations.
Okay.
Yeah.
But either which way, it's not enough to get him into the NEWT course, which means that his ambition to be an Auror is effectively ruined.
Yeah.
And that is like one of those little things that like will stick with us all the way up until the first day of classes next year,
right? When
McGonagall's like, oh, Slughorn will accept an E.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a nice one, and that's what leads to him getting the Half-Blood Prince book. But so this is all just big Slughorn setup for the next book, actually, which is like really, really heavy foreshadowing, or not like it's really in advance foreshadowing.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So definitely a bit of a plan, I think, is devised as to how that will end up playing out. Like how Harry can continue this ambition even without being able to succeed in Snape's class, which
exactly
almost feels like an oxymoron. Like you can't have both. But that being said, we also get a decent little piece of what could be some Dumbledore's big plan stuff going on today.
Yes, we do.
Because he will announce that today we're going to be mixing a potion that often comes up at the ordinary wizarding level, the Draft of Peace.
Yes.
So basically, we've just been given a huge string of people talking about how stressful 5th year is and how intense the OWL, preparations are for the students and the impact that it has on them and the panic attacks and the fainting.
Not to mention all the other stuff Harry is already dealing with Voldemort and everybody whispering behind his back. So despite Snape telling the class that they're morons and he's like looking forward to a happy farewell when they get bad grades, which he'll be happy about.
He'll punish them for.
He'll punish them for, but be happy about, but expects them to do well morons. Like, pick a lane, dude.
Yeah, seriously. You are sending mixed messages.
Very mixed messages.
Maybe this is where you went wrong with Lily.
Exactly. Yeah,
I said it. I said it.
Wow. Wow.
Always.
Yeah. Always? Was it always when you said mudblood, dude?
Exactly.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. Anyway, it does feel like maybe Dumbledore, it's like I think Ron is going to say on the next page, like, you'd think he'd be a bit better this year since we're all in the Order of the Phoenix together or whatever. And it's like, maybe he's just keeping up the facade because the potion he wants them to brew is the Draft of Peace, a potion to calm anxiety and soothe agitation. It is like exactly the thing Harry needs right now.
It is, yeah. So, I mean, this basically is like a very indirect way for like Dumbledore to be like, I'm prescribing you antidepressants.
Yeah.
And go.
Yeah, right.
It's unfortunate that the person who teaches him or doesn't teach him, because as you pointed out earlier, pretty much all Snape does is wave his wand at the blackboard where all of the, instructions show up, and then he flicks his wand again and the supply cabinet opens. And he's like, you have an hour and a half, start.
He doesn't even read the instructions to them. Like, go through it once, like, first start here. This might be a little bit tricky. If you have problems, I'll be circulating.
Right.
Don't forget the hellebore. It seems like a small thing. It makes a huge difference.
Right.
Yes.
Like, yes. It's a common mistake. Happens all the time.
Right. There's so many ways to like make this go a little bit better. But no. He's just like, here's the instructions. That is the cabinet. See you in an hour.
Right. And then you get a description sort of as to like what advanced potion making actually looks like. And it sounds super complicated. It has to be stirred the right number of times, clockwise, counterclockwise, the heat of the flames. The heat had to be lowered at the exact right level for a specific number of minutes, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It reminds me a lot of baking.
Yeah. Sounds a lot like that.
It's a very finicky, very precise process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. But so Snape checks in with 10 minutes left to go, which is with his only instruction, which is a light silver vapor should now be rising from your potion. So 50 minutes into an hour-long class, he's like, in case you have messed up, it's too late to do anything about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Harry's cauldron was issuing copious amounts of dark gray steam. Ron's was spitting green sparks. Seamus was feverishly prodding the flames at the base of a cauldron with the tip of his wand because they had gone out. But the surface of Hermione's potion, however, was a shimmering mist of silver vapor.
Of course it is.
Yes, indeed.
Well done.
Yes. Yeah. Snape then comes over and does demonstrate his extreme knowledge over the field of potion making.
Yes.
Because he basically is going to be like, Potter, what is this supposed to be? To which Harry responds, the Draft of Peace.
Draft of Peace.
Right, yeah. And he's like, can you read? And Harry's like, yes, I can. And he's like, read the third line of the instructions for me, Potter. So he knows the exact area where Harry went wrong.
Right, yes. Yeah. Which is the add powdered moonstones, stir 3 times counterclockwise, allow to simmer for 7 minutes, then add 2 drops of syrup of hellebore, which he has not done. Part of me thinks that it's like other people in the class are doing worse than Harry, so you think Snape's just coming over to like pick on Harry because he likes to pick on Harry.
Sure.
But there could also, like, if you want to like give it a positive spin, it's like Snape is walking over and he's like, you were supposed to do this right. Like, listen to me, Potter. Do it again, but with the hellebore.
Right. Yes. It's like, I mean, and that's a fair point. Like it could just be the case that it's sort of like pretty much everything was fine. You forgot one ingredient and it's obvious, but if you add that ingredient, it will work. And then if you take the Draft of Peace, that will help you.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, that's fair. That's fair. There could be some instruction, although his tone of voice could be
tone of voice is terrible. Yeah. He's very, very bad tactics here. The interesting thing about hellebore too is that I looked this up. It's like typically it's like a real thing. Like hellebore is just like a regular kind of flower.
Okay.
There's a bunch of different varieties, but more often than not, it is like a poison. And then there's even like legend behind it that it's believed to be used by witches to summon demons. To which I'm like, man, it seems like a really odd things to put in the Draft of Peace.
That does seem a little odd. Maybe there's like a requirement for there to be like some almost like counter ingredients.
That's exactly what I thought. It seems like this ingredient does the like opposite. So maybe there's like an ingredient in there that like forces things to act opposite of their nature.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Almost like a magnet or something where it's like you need north and south so you can use the south.
Right. Yeah. I wonder if that's what like the moonstones do.
Oh, could be. They are known for titles tidal behaviors.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
I mean,
That would make sense.
Right.
Yeah, like pulling it one way or another.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe the moonstones force like the hellebore to like shift to the other tide.
Right. Yeah.
whatever, yeah.
Okay. Look at us working this out.
We understand potions.
Are we scientists?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
That's how we get it.
Obviously, then what Snape is going to assign is for them to all fill one flagon of a sample year potion. But he's obviously deleted all of Harry's, so he basically gets a 0 for today, which is like, well, that sucks.
It sucks, but also like, is that how the grades work?
I know exactly. Yeah. It's a good question. We get let's see here, Ron's, which was giving off the foul odor of bad eggs. Neville's, which had achieved the consistency of just mixed cement. So it sounds like really nobody was having tremendous success here.
Yeah, no one's doing very good, but Harry is the only one who gets the 0.
That's right.
Yep. Let's see. Had Snape. Blah, 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 blah.
But I like the next page where Hermione's like, that was really unfair. Your potion wasn't nearly as bad as Goyle's. When he put it in his flagon, the whole thing shattered and his robes lit on fire.
Yeah, God, how does Goyle pass anything?
I have no idea. But I do like my note, which just said, LOL, awesome.
Part of me is like, I'm surprised Hermione doesn't just like give him some of the draft of peace, but like, why don't you just have one of this here?
I'm gonna pour some into your pumpkin juice.
I'm gonna pour some in your pumpkin juice. How about that? How are we feeling about that?
That's right. That's right.
Let's see. Then this is where Ron brings up I did think maybe he'd be a little bit better this year, or that's Hermione says it. Okay, I'm sorry. I mean, now he's in the order and everything. But Ron points out poisonous toadstools don't change their spots. I'm not sure why I read it like that, but
yeah. Well, that feels like a very like Molly Weasley line to me for some reason.
It does. Like that's like a little wizardism.
Exactly. Yeah. This is like if you've grown up in the wizarding world, you say little phrases like that.
Yeah.
Idioms. Let's see here.
Then he says, anyway, I've always thought Dumbledore was cracking trusting Snape. Where's the evidence you ever really stopped working for you-know-who? So this is like light book 6 setup as well, where it's just like, continue to don't fully trust Snape, despite him sort of proving it a few times now.
Yeah. And you know what I think is funny? This is also one of my notes that I wrote in was like, where's the evidence that he ever stopped working for you-know-who? And I was like, on Harry's forehead.
Right.
Because you really have the whole situation, the exact right circumstances with Lily, where like if Snape hadn't asked Lily to be spared, then he would have just killed her the exact same way he killed James.
Right.
And the reason that James's sacrifice doesn't work to protect Lily and Harry is because he wasn't given the chance to live and chose to die anyway.
Right.
And so that's what Lily does. So, and that's all because of Snape.
Right.
So
but
that's
they
the
don't know
evidence.
that yet.
No. They don't, but it's funny because it's literally on Harry right now.
It is. Yeah, you're right. But Harry has had enough of the bickering and just kind of, goes Mimbulus on them and says, can't you give it a rest? You're always having to go at each other and it's driving me mad. Which in Harry's defense, Hermione is the one earlier in the chapter to be like, we really should be trying for unity and friendship and strengthening of bonds. And all they do is argue with each other.
They do argue constantly.
Yeah, so not really following her own advice.
Right. Do you feel at all that Ron and Hermione's arguing is almost like, because if they were just getting along jovially, it would make Harry even more like separated?
Oh, I don't know.
Like, look, if you could just imagine them being like, I don't really want to hang out with Harry right now. He keeps being a jerk.
I feel like maybe if they were just like getting along and being happy, it'd be easier for Harry to join in and be happy.
Maybe that's it.
It's like, even like he can't get joy from his friends because they're too busy arguing with each other.
That's it.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's see here. He walked up the marble staircase 2 at a time, past the many students hurrying towards lunch. The anger that had just flared so unexpectedly still blazed inside of him.
Do you think that could be like, it just sort of like comes almost out of nowhere? Do you think that's like any like Voldemort action happening? Like Voldemort's feeling angry?
And like Voldemort's anger is basically just sort of like emerging through Harry. Oh,
right.
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, it's a great question. Like I was thinking the same thing actually when we were talking about like the weather situation earlier, where I was like, oh, could that be like Voldemort power? But
right.
Sometimes it's just sort of like, I just want Harry to just be Harry. And so like maybe it's just sort of like Harry in this case has every right to just be angry.
Right.
Like, he's had a miserable go.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like sometimes like I notice this will happen to me, like where like if I become like a frayed nerve and I'm just like exhausted and tired and it's like almost the only thing that's gonna like let me like decompress is just like resting, like just going and getting a break, and he's just not getting that.
He's not getting that because even the place he goes to rest, there's someone who doesn't trust him in that room.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's see. So, but he continues to kind of have like an inner monologue here. It's like, why can't they keep the rest bickering all the same time? It's just not enough to drive anyone up the wall. Yeah, can't get a moment's peace to himself. But let's see. Then they head up to Divination after potions, which is his other least favorite class, to go talk to Trelawney, who reminds Harry of some kind of insect, which I kind of looked up. I was like, that feels kind of like Rita Skeeter-esque. But like, I was like, is there like an insect that's like known to like predict the future or something like that? Not that like you can really do that, but like acts on what appears to be precognition or something. And it's like, not really. Nothing. That's just like a funny way to describe her.
Wait, where is the specific line? I'm so sorry. I was trying to keep up with you there.
Oh, it says Professor Trelawney's habit of predicting his premature death for every few lessons. A thin woman, heavily draped in shawls and glittering with strings of beads. She always reminded Harry of some kind of insect, with her glasses hugely magnifying her eyes.
Ah, yes, indeed. Yes,
There you
indeed. No, it's actually also kind of interesting as well, because is it not in Divination where like Harry is having one of his like episodes and
yeah, like that Rita writes the article about.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is a little bit interesting there. So even that might be the kind of thing where it's like, I wonder if we're supposed to be like throwing a little bit of concern towards Trelawney. You know, sort of like, last time somebody resembled an insect, they were an insect.
Right, yeah. Like, what do you know about Trelawney here? Maybe that's how she's pulling off some of these little tricks. She's spying on people.
That's right. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But either which way, Ron finally is going to appear, sit down next to Harry and whisper to him, Hermione and I have stopped arguing, he said, sitting down beside Harry. Good, grunted Harry. But Hermione says she thinks it would be nice if you stopped taking out your temper on us. I'm not. I'm just passing on the message, said Ron, talking over him. But I reckon she's right. It's not our fault how Seamus and Snape treat you. I never said good day.
I love where it's like, I never said it. It's like, Harry, you're doing it right now. Harry, you're doing the thing right now.
You're doing the thing. You're doing the thing. Just simmer down. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Let's see here.
And then I love Trelawney's introduction to the class here, where I feel like she like talks her prediction into a corner and then like has to like save it at the last second. He's like, I have of course been following your fortunes most carefully over the holidays, and I'm delighted to see that you have all returned to Hogwarts safely. Oh, as I knew you would, because as I just said, I've been following your fortunes. Wait.
Yes, yeah. I mean, classic, everything to do with Trelawney. You will find on the tables before you copies of the Dream Oracle by Inigo Imago. Inigo Imago?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's some trivia right there. Goodness gracious. I would never be able to pull that from the depths of the brain.
Yeah, Inigo Imago.
Right.
Oh, man.
But dream interpretation is the most important means of divining the future, and one that may be very well tested in your OWL. And dream interpretation is kind of spot on for this year, because throughout the course of the year, Harry is having a lot of dreams.
He is having a lot of dreams. And this is like very, very classic, like J.K. Rowling writing, I think.
Okay.
Where it's just like, oh yeah, the thing Harry's going to be having all year is dreams. And what we're going to go ahead and discredit the heck out of with Trelawney immediately is dream interpretation.
It's dream. Yeah.
Right.
It's like, let's just go ahead and assume that because Trelawney thinks it's important, that everybody, that we don't need to pay attention.
We don't need to pay attention to that.
The dream's unimportant. We've decided that? Yeah.
Right.
We're good. We're good. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like, don't let Harry's concerns about it like concern you, because Trelawney thinks they're important, which means they're not.
That's right.
Yeah.
But then sure enough, she's going to say, turn please to the introduction and read what Imago has to say on the matter of dream interpretation. So it's like, once again, we've got yet another class where the very first thing that they do is just sort of like read, it's like, these are all versions of, like, there's no lecturing going on. It doesn't seem hardly at all. Maybe in Ben's class.
He's like lecturing, but like in a way that no one can pay attention to. Snape doesn't go over the assignment at all, doesn't tell them what it's supposed to do, just puts it on the board and says, go. And then they get to Trelawney's class and she's like, read. And it's like, can anyone teach anything at all ever?
Right, I know.
Like, this would be such an obvious, like, discussion-based kind of lesson where it'd be like, Lavender, what did you have a dream about? Let's talk about it. Oh, it was this and that. Oh, a butterfly? That can sometimes mean this.
Right.
You know?
Right, yes. Like this would be like a great example to have Trelawney expertly do it with one of the students before the class.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
That's not what she's going to do.
probably a little, like it could expose you a little bit as well, though.
Well, yes, but she doesn't seem to have a problem with that because she's constantly telling Harry he's going to die.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So I think she's all good there. Then Neville had a nightmare involving a giant pair of scissors wearing his grandmother's best hat, which, I mean, like the vulture based hat for Neville's grandmother comes up unexpectedly often.
It kind of does. What on earth could this be Neville's concern about? A giant pair of scissors.
A giant pair of scissors.
Like I mean, cutting something, obviously. It's not going to be too deep, I don't think.
I mean, he breaks his father's wand later in the year.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Which is something that like he's worried his gran is going to be deeply upset about. I'm not sure what else we might have though that would be like particularly astute for Neville and scissors at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. The fact that the scissors are wearing his grandma's hat, so like his grandma is the scissors. What is she cutting? You know, I don't, but not really anything. The only time we really even see her in this book is when they're at the hospital.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
with his parents.
Right.
So like, I mean, even like cutting ties though doesn't really seem
I know
to be
cutting
happening.
ties doesn't seem right. It's not like anyone died. It's not like there's like a cut lifeline or something. you
Right,
know?
right.
I mean,
yeah.
serious dies, but you know that doesn't have anything to do with Neville.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, then Ron is going to chime in and say, "Oh, I never remember my dreams. You say one. You must remember one of them," said Harry impatiently. He was not going to share his dreams with anyone. He knew perfectly well what his regular nightmare about the graveyard meant. He did not need Ron or Professor Trelawney or the stupid dream oracle to tell him that.
Yep.
And then I love Ron saying, "Well, I did have this one that I was playing Quidditch the other night."
Wink, wink. What do you think about that, Harry? What could that mean, Harry? What do you think that means? What do you think? Who's going to show up for keeper trials, Harry? I had a dream that I was playing Quidditch, Harry.
Hey, what do you think? Yeah. Harry once again doesn't get it at all.
Yeah.
And says probably that you're going to get eaten by a giant marshmallow or something. And Ron's like, yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, probably. But seriously, those keeper tryouts, Harry.
Right. Yeah. Put in a good word for me.
Yeah. But anyway, they get even more homework here, and Ron is already complaining about it. He's got a 1.5 foot long essay on Giant Wars, essay on the Moonstones, and a month's dream diary from Trelawney. Oh man, it sounds terrible, honestly.
It does. It sounds pretty miserable. But then they're entering Defense Against the Dark Arts, and they found Professor Umbridge already seated at the teacher's desk wearing the fluffy pink cardigan again. And the black velvet bow on top of her head, and Harry was forcibly reminded of a large fly perched unwisely on top of an even larger toad.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't believe how far we are into this chapter, and we're just getting to Umbridge.
I know. Yeah. And then this is even just like a terrible moment because it's sort of like the calm before the storm, but the class was quiet as it entered the room. Professor Umbridge was as yet an unknown quantity, and nobody yet knew how strict a disciplinarian she was likely to be. to which I just wrote in, bad news, fam.
Yeah, I just said very.
Very, yes. Well, good afternoon, she said. When finally the whole class had sat down, a few people mumbled good afternoon in reply. Tut tut, said Professor Umbridge. That won't do now, will it? I would like you, please, to reply, good afternoon, Professor Umbridge. One more time, please. Good afternoon, class.
Ugh, I hate her already.
I know.
I mean, I think you're obviously supposed to, but boy, do you hate her fast.
You do.
Like every second of the rest of this chapter is just like one like jab after the other.
It really is just sort of like, it's like you are so on a different page than the page that I'm on.
Yeah.
We are misaligned here. So Professor Umbridge is going to go tap the blackboard with her unusually short wand, and the words are going to appear: Defense Against the Dark Arts, a return to basic principles. And it's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Boring.
Also, for what it's worth, if you read about like wand lengths over on the Pottermore archives, you will learn that short wands are typically indicative of poor character.
That's right. And this is the moment that I was speaking of just a little bit earlier in regard that I was like, okay, let's table it and come back to this. This is that moment. So as now your teaching of the subject has been rather disrupted and fragmented, hasn't it? Stated Professor Umbridge, turning to face the class with her hands clasped neatly in front of her. The constant changing of teachers. And this is like one of those things where, like, we were talking about how Harry would be like the ultimate defense against the dark arts professor and how he could pass along all of his knowledge and his ability to teach others how to do this task well, especially in the wake of having defeated the curse over the defense against the dark arts professor position.
Right.
And this is like one of those things that it's like Umbridge says this, and it's like, this is actually like a fairly reasonable take. Like, their teaching in this subject has been disrupted by having this like revolving door of professors.
Right.
But also that is what Voldemort intended. He intended for people to not be taught well in this particular class, because then they aren't being taught proper defensive magic, which makes them highly susceptible to his reign.
Exactly.
So
they're not good at fighting it.
Exactly, which is why it is so poetic for Harry to teach the class, because then they will be prepared in the event that something ever arises in the future, which makes them less, like doomed,
Yeah, overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. In any case, Umbridge she's here now, and she is thinking that they are way below standard for what they would expect to see in OWL year. However, her path forward is not to teach them any defensive magic at all.
That's right.
Yeah, she writes down the course aims, which are 1-0, 2-0, and 3-0.
Nice.
Yeah. And they all copied that down real quick. And then I love how Hermione is like, she came to this class ready to fight.
She really did, yeah. So basically, Umbridge is going to do the same thing every other teacher has done, which is effectively open your book and start reading basics for beginners. There will be no need to talk. Super dull, super boring. And then
again, no teaching.
No teaching whatsoever. Harry finally looks up and sees that Hermione has not even opened her book and is just staring fixedly at Professor Umbridge with her hand in the air. And it's sort of like, let's freaking go, Hermione.
I know. Also, how long do we think this textbook is? Because this is basically how every single class is going to go. It's going to be like, come to class, read chapter 1. Come to class, read chapter 2. Like, can you get away with this for the whole year?
Yeah, I have no idea. How many weeks of the year do you end up having? Like 36?
Something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it seems like it would have to be a pretty dense book.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it was a dense book.
Right. Yeah.
Effectively sawdust, as far as I'm concerned.
44, I think, right? Because they only have an 8-week summer.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
44 chapter book.
Nice.
Pretty boring.
But yeah, it's a hefty boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is where we're going to get even more of sort of like this just absolutely infuriating power trip based situation where it's like it might be the case where like a teacher is like, raise your hand if you have any questions. And then if you do, they like get mad at you for it or something. It's like a good teacher doesn't get mad at somebody who has a question.
Yeah.
Like that's the students engaging with the subject matter. They're being involved.
Yep.
They're taking an active role in their own education, which Umbridge does not like. So finally, Umbridge, after everybody has stopped reading and is just looking at Hermione and Umbridge, will say, "Did you want to ask something about the chapter, dear?" And Hermione's like, "Not about the chapter. Nope. I've got a query about your course aims." And Umbridge is like, "And your name is?" "Hermione Granger," said Hermione. And I'm sort of like, heck yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Heck,
that's right.
This is a moment like where I feel like there could be like almost a little bit like a mic drop moment in the series, where it's sort of like, it's like, "And what is your name?" And it's sort of like, your butt is about to be handed to you.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Hermione Granger.
That's right. That's
Boom.
right. And then the crowd goes wild.
Yeah.
Exactly.
She is super, so like, she is like the only one who picked up on the illuminating parts of Umbridge's speech last night that Dumbledore was talking about. And she is in full on war mode now, ready to illuminate the rest of the class, which she is going to do promptly. Yeah.
Let's see here. And so obviously Hermione has an issue with the course aims, and she's going to say, "I think the course aims are perfectly clear if you read them through carefully." And then Hermione's like, "Well, I don't."
Yeah. I got news for you. I have read them carefully, and they're not to taste.
They're not to taste
at all.
Not even one bit. Yeah, there's nothing about using defensive spells, to which Umbridge is like, "Using defensive spells? Well, I can't imagine any situation arising in my classroom that would require you to use a defensive spell, Miss Granger. You surely aren't expected to be attacked during class."
How about just like practice.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Maybe to practice.
Right. We don't live in the classroom, in case you've forgotten.
Right. Exactly. And so they're going to continue with, or Ron's going to ejaculate loudly. We're not going to use magic. That's what it says in the book.
It uses the word ejaculated.
It does. Yeah. We're just reading the words in the book, people.
Not a good enough reason to use it.
Not a good enough reason.
Yeah. Said would have been fine.
Said would have been fine there.
Anyway, but now I've said it on the internet too, so hooray.
There you go.
All right, let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, Hermione and Harry immediately raise their hands too. Professor Umbridge's pouchy eyes lingered on Harry for a moment before she addressed Hermione. Yes, Miss Granger, you want to ask something else? Yes, said Hermione. Surely the whole point of Defense Against the Dark Arts is to practice defensive spells. And then Umbridge is going to be like, are you a ministry-trained educational expert, Miss Granger? And she's like, no. Well, then I'm afraid you are not qualified to decide what the whole point of any class is. Wizards much older and cleverer than you. And I'm like, no.
Like, first of all, no. Second of all, you are also not a ministry-trained educational expert.
Right.
Miss Umbridge.
That's right. Yes, exactly. You'll be learning about defense spells in a secure, risk-free way. And Harry's like, what's the use in that? If we're going to be attacked, it won't be, hand, Mr. Potter. And it's like, oh my gosh. Like,
I know.
Even reading it to you guys right now is just infuriating.
I know.
me.
It's just like he's clearly making a good point, and you're just like way more concerned about the rules than listening to what they have to say.
Exactly.
Yeah. And fortunately, Dean's got his back, even though this morning he's like, you know what? I can support you here, Harry. I got you.
Right.
It's like, well, it's like Harry said, isn't it? Even if we're going to be attacked, you won't be risk-free. Exactly, Dean.
Right. Yes. And then she's like, I do not wish to criticize the way that things have been run in the school. And it's like, yes, you absolutely do mean to criticize that very thing.
That's all you wish to do.
And then she does say, but you have been exposed to some very irresponsible wizards in this class. Very irresponsible indeed. And it's like, she could have left it there because there is at least some moderate truth to the fact that Quirrell was also Voldemort and Moody was also Barty Crouch Jr.
And that Lockhart was like erasing people's memories.
And there was Lockhart.
Yeah.
But then she chimes in and then she goes, not to mention, she gave a nasty little laugh, extremely dangerous half-breeds.
How dare you?
How dare you indeed?
How dare you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I could punch you right now.
Them's fighting words.
Fighting words.
I disapprove of this message.
Dean also disapproves. If you mean Professor Lupin, he was the best we ever had. The best.
That's right. Yeah. And this is actually kind of like an interesting little moment too, because in the Fantastic Beasts series, there's also a situation where like ministry officials come in and interrupt Dumbledore's class. And who is it? It's not McLaggen.
Oh no, McLaggen's one of his students, I think.
Okay, but whoever it is,
yeah,
will say he's the best teacher we've ever got, or something like that. Yeah, and I'm like, oh man, this was.
Oh, and it's like the same lesson that Lupin has. Yeah,
right. Lupin and Dumbledore are the same, confirmed.
Same confirmed, right? That sounds about right. I mean, they are very similar in many ways.
They are. They do teach the same like curriculum, and they sort of have like the same like hands-on mentality,
and the very like passive-aggressive politeness.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, so after this great interjection from Dean, we're going to once again get the hand, Mr. Thomas. And it's like, I hate you.
I know. It's so annoying. And it's like, it says, you've been frightened into believing that you are likely to meet dark attacks every other day. And it's like, no, we haven't. Your hand is not up, Miss Granger. It's just like, she's just demanding order so right away. Of course, Hermione puts her hand up and then she doesn't answer her either way. So there you go. And then she tells them, it is my understanding that my predecessor not only performed illegal curses in front of you, but he actually performed them on you, which hard to argue. That's true. But Dean is on fire in this particular chapter. He's like, well, he turned out to be a maniac, didn't he? And then it's like she realizes she can't confirm that because then that would be like, oh, wait, yes, there was a dark wizard.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, are you insulting Mad-Eye Moody, like the real horror, or are you insulting Barty Crouch Jr.? Because one of those requires you to change your entire tone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the real bad one, it comes down here at the bottom. She says, now it is the view of the ministry that a theoretical knowledge will be more than sufficient to get you through your examination, which after all is what school is all about, which is just such crap. Because school is not, this is like What she's saying is that the point of going to school is to pass exams. So the point, what you're doing is you're attending school for the sake of having been to school, not to learn anything to use in the real world. You just go to school so you can pass exams, not to do anything with them.
Right.
Which is so dumb. And also, I think if you're like really paying attention to this chapter, you can note that what Umbridge says, the point of school is to get you through your examinations, which after all is what school is all about. If you want to contrast this with Trelawney, what she says is, not, of course, that I believe examination passes or failures are of the remotest importance when it comes to the sacred art of divination. So they have an exact 180 viewpoint on the relevance of exams and their usefulness in understanding the subject matter.
Right.
Which is to say that Umbridge is going to fire Trelawney, as like there is a connection between these two characters as like complete polar opposites of the staff.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really good catch. No, I love that. And the other thing I think is kind of interesting here as well is that we were also going to get a chime in from Parvati, who happens to be Lavender's best friend.
Yes.
And so if you'll recall from the beginning of the chapter, Hermione points out that Lavender is a little skeptical of Harry and Dumbledore's story and is more subscribing to the beliefs of the Daily Prophet.
Right.
But this is
Ipso facto.
Right. You would believe that Parvati would probably also be on the same page, but she's not.
But she's not. Right. Because I feel like that's the thing. It's like what's said is that Lavender doesn't trust Harry, but then what the unsaid thing is that Parvati does.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Because otherwise you just say, yes, Lavender and Parvati think the same thing too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
But so good for Parvati. Harry's Yule Ball date of last year.
How about that?
Yeah.
Maybe that was enough.
Maybe that was enough, you
right.
know?
Yeah, made a difference.
I know. She's like, I saw you talking to Cho Chang the other day on the bus or on the train, and like, I don't know. You know?
I don't know about all that. Yeah.
I don't know about all that. Yeah.
Right. But yeah. So
is anyone shipping Harvati? You know?
Harvati.
Yeah. No.
Harry and Parvati getting together.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Not so much.
Yeah. Let's see here. What do we got next, though? But yeah, so she's just basically like, aren't we supposed to show that we can actually do the counter curses and things? And this is something that will come up later when Harry is doing his practical for Defense Against the Dark Arts, where I'm fairly certain the examiner will give him an extra point if he can perform the corporeal Patronus.
Yeah. Which he does. Yeah. No problem at all. But Umbridge's response is there's no reason why you should not be able to perform the spells under carefully controlled examination conditions. And it's like, first of all, there is plenty of reason. Like Harry had to practice like Accio for weeks last year, and that's just a summoning charm.
Right. Like it's like understanding the incantation and the like foundational elements of like how magic works. It's like it's almost like you can't just learn musical theory and then pick up a guitar and play it. It's like musical theory, it helps you understand how to be a better musician.
Right.
But like you need application to get the calluses on your fingers, to get the muscle memory. Like, you know, all those types of things are important as well. So then we kind of get the whole feud between Harry and Umbridge, which really fires up quick.
It does. Because Harry has had enough. He says, and what good's theory going to be in the real world? Well, I mean, to be fair, like you could start like a YouTube channel or something. So
yeah, exactly. You know, theories work well over there. This is school, Mr. Potter, not the real world, she says softly.
That's such an infuriating sentence.
Right.
She's just like, what does the real world have to do with school? I don't understand.
Right, yeah. So we're not supposed to be prepared for what's waiting out there? There is nothing waiting out there, Mr. Potter. Oh, yes.
But then, like, what's the point of this class at all?
That's also true. Yeah. It's like, why are we learning defensive theory?
I'm so mad.
I know. No, I get you. Who do you think want to attack children like yourselves? Inquired Professor Umbridge.
She's goading him, man.
Yeah. Let me think. Maybe Lord Voldemort.
Boom.
Here we go. It's happening.
It is out now.
Yeah. Ron gasped. Lavender Brown uttered a little scream. Neville slipped sideways off his stool. Professor Umbridge, however, did not flinch. So that's the point. I think the key thing is that she had every intention of this class going exactly this way.
Yeah. She is like, she didn't flinch because she knew this was coming and she planned for it. It says, as she was staring at Harry with a grimly satisfied expression on her face, because this is exactly what she wanted to happen.
Right. Then she takes 10 points from Gryffindor, which at this point is just sort of like, I literally wrote, make it 20, who cares?
Right.
Like, it's like, at this point, like the house cup, that does not matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
Let the Slytherins have it. Who cares?
Also, it's like the first day, so how many points could they even have,
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah. You have been told that a certain dark wizard has returned from the dead. And Harry's like, he wasn't dead.
Yeah.
It's a real Ron Swanson at Home Depot, like, I know more than you.
I know more than you.
Situation. Yeah.
But yeah, he's returned.
That's right.
Oh man, and she's just like, what did she say here? As I was saying, you have been informed that a certain dark wizard is at large once again. This is a lie. It is not a lie. I saw him. I fought him.
Detention, Mr. Potter.
Yeah.
Tomorrow evening, 5 o'clock. I repeat, this is a lie. Oh my gosh. And this sentence, I'm like, this stands out because it says the Ministry of Magic guarantees you are not in danger from any dark wizard. And it's like, do they now?
Like, I mean, like, even if you don't think Voldemort's back, you can't guarantee that there are 0 dark wizards.
I guarantee there is no danger out there. It's
I guarantee.
No one can say that.
Right.
Like, not to cause mayhem or anything.
Not to cause mayhem, but also it's like you're talking about the Ministry, and it's like, obviously that's not why she's there and whatnot, but it's like the Ministry guarantees you're not endangered. It's like, but this is Hogwarts, not the Ministry. So why are you even bringing them up right now?
Right. Yeah, right.
Right.
Oh my gosh. But then, then she's just sort of like, okay, and now you will kindly return your reading, page 5, Basics for Beginners, which is really like one of those things where it's like the chapter title of that is just so also, it's like, we're in year 5, like,
right?
We're big kids now.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to be doing basics for beginners. This is annoying. But let's see here. Harry, however, stood up. Everyone was staring at him. Seamus looked half scared, half fascinated.
Yeah, because you can tell Seamus is like, he's still mad at Harry for the like remarks about his mom, but he's also sort of like, wait. But like, actually, can I hear the story now?
Like it's kind of happening.
Yeah.
And Hermione's like, Harry, no. And Harry's like, too bad I'm doing it. So according to you, Cedric Diggory dropped dead of his own accord, did he? And it's like,
Harry asks, his voice shaking. There was a collective chortle from the class. That's not what it says.
It's not what it says. There's intake of breath. For none of them, apart from Ron and Hermione, had ever heard Harry talk about what had happened the night of that Cedric had died. Cedric Diggory's death was a tragic accident, she said coldly. It was murder, said Harry. He could feel himself shaking. He had hardly talked to anyone about this, least of all 30 eagerly listening classmates.
30?
30, I know. Voldemort killed him, and you know it. For a moment, he thought that she was going to scream at him. Then she said in her softest, most sweetly girlish voice, "Come here, Mr. Potter." He kicked his chair aside. Good. Yeah.
So what she's doing is goading misbehavior out of the student so that she can pass new decrees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she's pretty much entered the school with full intention of becoming the High Inquisitor. Like the playbook has already been written. Now it's just sort of like enacting the steps that ultimately are going to get her to that position, because you can't just go in and like overtake. But if like it seems like things are on the loose, then maybe you can use extreme measures.
Right. So she's going to go in here and cause a bunch of problems and make it look like there's tons of misbehavior so that she can say like, oh, now that there's misbehavior, I can correct it. And in correcting it, I will control you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So anyway, then she takes him forward. She writes a note to Professor McGonagall and says that he needs to take this to his head of house or whatever. So Harry's like, fine, yeah, I'm leaving. So he runs into Peeves in the hallway because he just can't have a single moment of peace.
Nope.
And Peeves immediately refers to him as crackpot and then sings a song about the potty wee lad.
Why, it's Potty Wee Potter.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, must think he's barking the Potty Wee lad, but some are more kindly and think he's just sad, but Peeps knows better and says that he's mad.
Shut up! A door to his left flew open. Professor McGonagall emerged from her office looking grim and slightly harassed. What on earth are you shouting at, Potter? She snapped as Peeves cackled gleefully and zoomed out of sight. Why aren't you in class? And then Harry's like, I've been sent to see you. Sent? What do you mean sent?
Yeah. So now he has to give her the note and she opens it and she's like, is it true that you shouted at Professor Umbridge? You called her a liar?
He was like, yes.
Sure did.
I did that. I did do that. Yes.
I feel like she's like kind of proud of him though, you know.
I tend to believe that as well. Like, I think that this is like another one where like subtle acting like is going to be so perfect, but it's sort of like the better that it can look like she's sort of like got like a little like twitching smile, you know, in the corner of her mouth, sort of like, okay, nice job. I have to be upset with you, but like good work.
Right. Yeah.
Then she says, have a biscuit, Potter. Have what? Have a biscuit. And so there's this is like one of those things that's always, this is like a great, like, is it British or wizarding thing? But the biscuits that she's offering him are referred to as ginger newts.
Yes.
And I assumed that a ginger newt was like a British cookie of sorts.
Right.
But instead, a ginger newt is literally a wizarding cookie that is in the shape of a newt.
Right. It's like I think it's like a ginger flavored cookie in the shape of a newt.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and this is where I think sort of like, McGonagall is going to speak in code better than most of the other members of the order do. And maybe code is not really even the best way to describe it, but she's going to say misbehavior in Dolores Umbridge's class could cost you much more than house points and a detention. And Harry's sort of like, it's like, Potter, use your common sense. Like, you know where she comes from. You must know to whom she is reporting. So it's like,
she's not here to teach.
Right. McGonagall is like being like rather candid with him.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see that, because I think that this is also sort of like McGonagall starting to realize as well that like Harry has a burden on his shoulders much greater than the average student. And like he needs to be spoken to almost plainly, like, you know, like in a more, you know, I guess direct manner.
Yep. And so he's like, but can she reveals that he's gotten detention every night that week. And he's like, what? But certainly you could step in. And she's like, I could not. She's your teacher. She has every right to give you detention. You have to go every single night, 5 o'clock, starting tomorrow. Tread carefully around Umbridge, which of course he will not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And then this is where Harry's sort of like, but I was telling the truth. Voldemort's back. You know he is. Professor Dumbledore. He, like, you know, and McGonagall's like, for heaven's sake, Potter, like, do you really think this is about truth or lies? It's about keeping your head down and your temper under control.
See, this is where I think she's wrong though, because it is about truth and lies.
Right.
You know, it's like she's like trying to protect him, but it's like I think she is wrong here and Harry is right. That's like, no, like we can't let her tell the students these lies, because that is more dangerous than like just keeping our head down.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. And I love have another biscuit. No thanks, said Harry coldly. Don't be ridiculous, she snapped.
You will accept my nice offering.
That's exactly it. He took one.
I love that scene. Don't be ridiculous.
I know.
They're delicious.
Yeah. Then she also references the start of term feast, and Harry said, you know, like, yeah, she said progress will be prohibited, or, well, it meant that the Ministry of Magic is trying to interfere at Hogwarts. And McGonagall is just immediately like, well, I'm glad you listened to Hermione Granger at any rate, she said, pointing him out of her office.
Yes. Aren't we all?
Yes, indeed we are. It's like, it's a really good thing for all of Wizardkind that Hermione is present. But with that excellent scene, it will bring us to the end of chapter 12 and give us something to look forward to with chapter 13. Detention with Dolores.
Oh, not really something to look forward to, though, huh?
That's right. Jay,
Yeah.
Do you have a review to close us out with?
I sure do. Today's review comes from Signy. And it says, I'm not Swedish, but I love this. And I'm not sure what their question has to do about being Swedish at all.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all right.
In any case, it says, I'm not Swedish, but I love this. Hey, brother, here's a theory, and I was wondering what you thought about it. Okay, here it is. What if Slytherin's wife is the basilisk as a maledictus?
Oh,
yeah. Which I think we have covered this.
I think that there is a chance, in fact, that we have, because we know in the film depiction of the movies, the like, and I think maybe even the book description suggests that the statue of Salazar Slytherin in the Chamber of Secrets is quite large.
Yes.
However, we do also happen to know that people, when petrified by the basilisk, seem to not age at all.
Right.
You know, so it's sort of like, it's like an interesting dilemma where it's almost as if like everything about their biology is frozen, because it's not like they like awaken and they're like emaciated. It's not like it's described that like they need to be like fed specific medicines. It's almost like while they're petrified, it's like they have just been frozen in time.
Right. They're like in stasis.
In stasis. So the idea that we had once upon a time was almost exactly as outlined, that the basilisk is never meant to be like Slytherin's monster. It's never meant to be menacing or an attack. And Salazar effectively is living during a period of time where the opinion towards, because this is all happening, of course, before the Statute of Secrecy as well, which suggests the Statute of Secrecy's existence at all means that there was a reason for wizards to go underground,
right,
to be hidden from the Muggle populace. And so what we come back to quite often is the belief that Slytherin wasn't like, he didn't have pure blood ideology the same way that like the Malfoys and the Death Eaters and Voldemort and Lestrange.
Right, it's not a matter of superiority, it's a matter of safety.
It's a matter of safety. And the idea is that it's sort of like, you know, if we let these people who do have such a strong prejudice towards people who are magical into our school, then we might be ripped apart from within. And then, of course, some of the irony there is that this belief
ends up, it's still the wrong opinion, but
because it still causes a divide amongst the founders themselves. But so the idea there is almost like, instead of like going somewhere, because Salazar is not defeated, he's not imprisoned. We never know what his fate is at all.
Right.
And so it's just sort of like he just disappears. So what we have suggested before is almost that like Salazar intended to return eventually when he could emerge into a world that may have a more like progressive view in terms of what all is going on.
Sure.
So, and maybe that's just conjecture, but either which way, he is frozen himself by way of who we, and through a wife who we believe he must have had because he has an heir.
Right. He has an heir, which means that he at least has a child and probably a wife.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. So anyway, I don't completely hate it. You know, we know that Nagini obviously turns into
Maledictus. We don't know Nagini's lineage though. All we really know is that, the way that maledictions work is that it only affects women, and it must come from your mother's side.
Yeah, so mother to daughter, effectively throughout time and space. So I mean, I don't know if we made this argument or not, but possibly that Nagini would be like a distant descendant of Salazar.
I guess that could be the case then, if it's the descendant of. I mean, if what we're saying is that the basilisk was a maledictus,
right,
and was a woman initially, and became the basilisk, but before that had a child, and then that could be carried downwards to eventually afflict Nagini.
Right.
Then in some way, then Nagini would also be an heir of Slytherin,
which would also then be interesting as far as like, you know, Voldemort's selection of her as a Horcrux, and even his like particularly unique relationship with her, which is also something that we've covered in detail from a variety of angles. Not the least of which is that Nagini's own soul actually dies, and all that remains inside of Nagini when she becomes so villainous is the piece of Voldemort's soul.
Right.
So it's like she is animated by nothing more than Voldemort's Horcrux at that point. But yeah, so we've had this thought that like the Chamber of Secrets was like a place for them to go into hiding, because basilisks can live for an extraordinary amount of time, and you know, I mean, even if it was, I can imagine the scene where this is even something that like we, the audience, then learn about this situation, and it's almost like it'll take 1,000 years before anybody can ever even touch the outside edge of what actually happened.
Right. Yeah. But so you can imagine then what happens is that they're in the Chamber of Secrets. The wife has become the basilisk, and he is left at the school, and like as a way to be with her forever or whatever, or to like cast himself into the future, he has the basilisk petrify him.
Right.
So the statue isn't a statue; it's literally him.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it says it's quite large. I don't know how we would do that. There's like engorgement charms and stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's like, I will provide a spot for you to like hide even within the chamber. And that's why she lives in the mouth or whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
which then provides like the dark mark imagery.
Right.
But It would be so interesting if that was true, that it was like if Slytherin himself was still alive down in there. It also makes the name of the Chamber of Secrets a little more appropriate, because the secret is just that there's a basilisk down there, but there's only one secret. So secrets would mean there should be two secrets.
Indeed.
At least two. And the secret could be that Salazar Slytherin is alive and there's a basilisk down here.
Right.
Multiple secrets.
Multiple secrets, yeah. And I mean, that's even like a really interesting one too, because if you can cast one of the founders of Hogwarts all the way into a timeline that like bypasses Voldemort completely.
Yeah.
Even that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Just to imagine. Like, you know, I mean, this is not a world that we've ever gotten a huge amount of building on. And the building that we have had, you know, between Cursed Child and, you know, the Fantastic Beasts saga has been a little shaky at best. But it's always fun to imagine a world where like Harry, Ron, Hermione team back up in the future and you get to see them as like full-grown wizards doing cool stuff.
Right.
You know, and then if you can bring back ancient elements from stuff that we already love, it's like, yeah, all the better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love it. I think it's a fun theory.
Fun theory. Love that one. Because then, yeah, it also would give like is Nagini an heir of Slytherin as well, which like Dumbledore even says like she underlies the Slytherin heritage or whatever, and it's like, but literally, yeah.
right, yes, yeah, it's underlined.
Yeah, there it is. Boom.
Love it. But anyway, guys, that's all for today. Don't forget, we do have tour tickets available now. The links to all those are going to be in the description, the show notes, all the obvious spots. Also at supercarlinbrothers.com. We have an events page over there. Just click that and you can go through. We are going to be going to Denver, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, Phoenix, Houston, and Dallas.
Yes,
so we
are.
6 shows. It's going to kick off somewhere early March.
March 7th.
March 7th?
Yes.
There we go. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so be sure to check it out. We hope to see you there.
Yes, we do. Otherwise, thanks for listening, and make sure you tune in next time for Chapter 13, Detention with Dolores, here on Through the Griffin Door.
Today's episode was edited by Isabel Chrisley. Vaishon Brandon does our art. Catherine Stein is our production manager, and the show is hosted by me and Jonathan Carlin.